Going to the vet can be a very scary experience for your dog and for you. But there are some things that you should never, ever do while you're there. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Alpha Paw, your destination for everything dog. I'm Bernie Zilio, and I'm on a mission to answer every doggone question you have ever had about your fur babies. And today, we're talking things you should avoid like the plague. Sorry, too soon? Probably too soon. We're talking about things that you should avoid doing when you take your dog or cat to the vet. Fortunately, we have an expert vet with us today, Dr. Ross Bernstein. Dr. Ross is a seasoned veterinary professional and pet care expert. He earned his doctorate degree in veterinary medicine at UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine, and his work has been featured in several industry-leading publications, including the Journal of Veterinary Surgery. He is our go-to vet for everything we want and need to know about our fur babies. So welcome back to Alpha Pod, Dr. Ross.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I am personally very excited about this episode because I want to know what's really going on in the brain of my vet when I bring my dog in for a checkup or for whatever the case may be. So before we get into the 5 things pet owners should avoid doing at the vet, I want to know from your perspective, Dr. Ross, what is like your biggest pet peeve or what is your biggest complaint that pet owners do that you wouldn't necessarily say to their face, but you can tell all of us here at Alpha?
Yeah, normally I don't like to speak up about these, but I guess one big one that we could start with is know why you're bringing your dog into the vet. So if you're
Isn't
the primary,
that a given?
Yeah, so you'd think so. And a lot of times though, someone who's not the primary caretaker brings the dog in, whether it's the pet sitter, the brother, the grandmother, the husband. It's always the husband, right? Who doesn't know anything about the dog. So they bring the dog in and then the vet comes in and is like, why are you bringing the dog in? Is it vomiting? Is it coughing? Is it sneezing? And they're like, I don't know. I just was told to bring the dog in. I mean, that's not really helpful for us as a veterinarian because we're going to want to know, what is your dog eating? How long has the problem been going on? What, if anything, have you tried to do to fix it? And so just having a more of a better understanding of just the dog's a day in the life of your dog would be very helpful for us to help you.
That actually blows my mind because I would think if you're bringing your dog in, there's a cause for concern in some way, shape, or form, but I can't handle that these clueless husbands come in and they're like, I don't know, my wife just told me to bring the dog. Okay, so let's get into it. The first thing that vets wish us pet parents wouldn't do is lie. I feel like that's pretty simple, but I guess this happens fairly often.
Yeah, so this, I would probably say it happens most commonly with illicit drugs. It's not that common in terms of the grand scheme of things, but in some places, marijuana intoxication is pretty common and it happens. And it's always the neighbor who threw something over the fence.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, some of the clinical signs are fairly straightforward. And I mean, it helps us, if you tell us that they ingested it, then we can start treating it. Whereas if we start proving that it's not other more deadly things, that can be more costly and take more time until your dog starts receiving the treatment that he or she needs. So just be honest, we're not the police. We're not going to go and tell them. We just want to help you and do what's best for your dog.
Roger that. I love that it's always the neighbors. That kills me. So basically, what I'm gathering is that honesty is the best policy. However, sometimes it's best to keep things to yourself. Like, for example, if your breeder's cousin's psychiatrist's daughter thinks that your dog may have X, Y, and Z, and then you come into your vet and you're like, this is what so-and-so says my dog has, you guys would appreciate if we don't come in with an already diagnosed animal. Am I right?
I mean, it's good to do your own research, and it's good to ask other people what they think and try to figure it out. But again, at the same time, you're coming to us for our expert opinion, and we have gone through years and years of schooling and training to give you our best recommendation. And so, yeah, it's great if you're doing research on the internet, but again, don't confuse your Google search with our medical degree. So it's important that you understand that the recommendations that we're giving are for a reason, and they're justified. So don't just rely on what your breeder or your friend at the dog park or your neighbor says, unless they are a veterinary professional.
Absolutely. So essentially use PetMD, but don't necessarily go off of PetMD or tell your vet what PetMD said. Now, this next one kind of ties in, and it's something I've heard you talk about numerous times. And it's basically when you don't know what's wrong with the animal and you do need to run tests and diagnostics. You want pet parents to not refuse those diagnostic tests. And I feel like that probably happens pretty often, right?
It does a lot. And it's not that we don't want them to refuse it. We definitely know that money doesn't grow on trees, but we're recommending these tests for a reason. Sometimes it's to prove or to try to figure out what the cause of the vomiting is. There could be so many different causes. And so if we want to run blood tests or take x-rays or do an ultrasound, it's to try to figure out what it is. We don't have a crystal ball. We can't see into the future. And if there is a money concern, then you can let us know and we can try to work with you to help prioritize which tests are most important or which medications or procedures are most important, and then go from there.
I'm glad you said that. I think that's a big deal. And I don't think anyone wants to bring their dog to the vet and be like, well, I can't afford that. I think we kind of find ways around the subject. And that's probably why people end up refusing a lot of tests. But it's good to know that if a pet parent is concerned about paying for something, that they should just be honest about it. And like you've said a million times, you guys are there for the best interest of our pets. So you would, of course, do whatever it is you can to help and assist in that department. So thank you for that. Now, number 4, I think goes for anybody, any situation, and it's just don't be rude.
Yeah, we we are people too. We like to be treated with respect. Our hospital staff, like our nurses, our client service representatives, we're all there to help you and help your pets. And we want to do what's best for you. We understand that your pet is sick, and this is a very stressful time for you. You may not know what's going to happen. You may not know if the procedure or surgery is going to be successful. We understand that it's a very stressful time, and we want to be there to help you. But don't take out your frustration on us. And certainly if there is a money issue that you're getting upset at us about, just talk to us and we can try to make a plan that works for you and works for your pet.
Sounds good. Now, this kind of leads into number 5, our 5th point of things you shouldn't do at the vet. And it's don't be on your phone.
When you're coming to visit us at the vet, you're coming there to get our expert opinion and our advice and our recommendations. And whether it's you're on your phone, reading a book, on the internet, watching your kids, I know you can't. Sometimes you're a parent and you have to be with your young kids, and they don't always understand. And it's an important time that when you're talking to your vet, but you're coming there to hear what we have to say. And then sometimes if you're not listening to us, it ultimately might take your dog or cat or whatever pet you have, it might take them longer to get better, or you might not fully understand our recommendations and not take the medication appropriately, or not come back for the recheck when we said. So we really want to make sure that you are paying attention and listening to our recommendations as best you can.
Absolutely. And the vision of somebody bringing their animal to you and whipping out a book and reading said book while you are trying to diagnose their pet is actually not funny, but it's hilarious at the same time. And I really, really hope that that's not something you see very often. But thank you so much, Dr. Ross. If you guys have any questions for Dr. Ross or myself, drop them down in the comment section below. Again, I'm Bernie Zilio, and this is Alpha Paw. Be sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a single doggone episode. We'll see you next time.